This evening, the two suspects in the infamous choking and robbery incident caught on CCTV appeared in the Georgetown Magistrate Court. $552 billion national budget officially passed in the National Assembly. Caught on camera, Route 42 minibus spotted driving on the pavement to escape traffic. In the region, 40,000 Venezuelans loses their citizenship card in Colombia, and internationally, Ghanaians protest new levy on electronic payments. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. On Thursday, the $552.9 billion national budget presented to the Parliament on January 26 was passed in the National Assembly following 5 days of debate along with 4 days of Committee of Supply meetings. Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, in a speech to the National Assembly, emphasized that this year's budget provides for massive investment in infrastructure that will change the face of Ghana forever. He said it opens vast new tracts of land for productive purposes, establishing entirely new communities while connecting others and making thousands of Guyanese homeowners for the very first time. Dr. Singh said the budget theme, Steadfast Against All Challenges, is aimed at containing a slew of measures to create wealth for all Guyanese and improve their livelihoods. The budget provides for an increase in cash grants and school uniform allowances for both private and public school students, increased in old age pension and public assistance, reduction in gasoline and diesel. The agricultural sector, the health sector, and infrastructure also received major boosts. The $552.9 billion budget was the third budget presented by the PPPC government in 18 months. It follows a $383.1 billion national budget in 2021. The two men who were caught on tape strangling and robbing a pedestrian were brought before a judge to answer for their actions. Esther Sobers has more.
The two men who were seen on CCTV footage choking a male before robbing him of his valuables appeared this morning at the Georgetown Magistrate Court and were both remanded to prison. Chris Pollard of 42 Duncan Street and Jamal Anthony Delve of Lot 3500 Stevie Door Housing Scheme appeared before Senior Magistrate Leron Daly, where they pleaded guilty. The charge against the duo states that on February 8, 2022, at Crowell Street, Stabrook, Georgetown, they robbed Riaz Hamad of one iPhone 6S cellular phone valued at $48,000 and $700 cash, a total value of $48,700, property of the said Riaz Ahmad. Reports are that around 11:45 a.m., Ahmad was walking along the pavement of Crowell Street, Georgetown, where he felt someone holding onto his neck from behind and began choking him. He then felt another male remove the cash and cell phone from his pocket. As a result, the man became momentarily unconscious. Upon regaining consciousness, he went to the police outpost to report the occurrence, and an investigation was launched. The men were captured within hours of the report. The duo will return to court on March 11, 2022. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. A motorcyclist lost his life after he lost control of his motorbike and crashed into a parked vehicle in the Campbellville area. Here again is Esther Sobers.
Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred on Craig Street, Campbellville, in the vicinity of Star Party Rental on Thursday, February 10, 2022. Dead is 18-year-old Elijah Prophet of Craig Street, Campbellville. Prophet lost control of his motorcycle CJ7433 and crashed into a stationary motor pickup owned by Brian Barakat of Barak Street, Kingston, Georgetown. Based on CCTV footage obtained by the police, Prophet, who was not wearing a safety helmet, was proceeding west along Craig Street at a fast rate of speed. Video footage showed he lost control of the motorcycle and collided with the right side rear of the motor pickup, which was parked on the southern parapet facing west. Due to the impact, the cyclist received injuries to his head and about his body. He was picked up in an unconscious condition and transported by an ambulance to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where he was examined by a doctor and pronounced dead on arrival. His body is present at the Georgetown Public Hospital Morgue 3 awaiting a post-mortem examination. It is unclear if the motorcyclist is the holder of a provisional or a driver's license. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. Stick around after the break. Caught on camera, Route 42 minibus spotted driving on the pavement to escape traffic. And the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana launches their 23rd edition of the Explore Guyana magazine.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Welcome back. On Thursday, the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana launched their 23rd edition of the Explore Guyana magazine. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, speaking at the launching, said tourism is one of Guyana's strongest and most sustainable sectors. It highlights the future of the country. Information and communication technology, the lifting of COVID-19 curfew, agriculture, security, and oil and gas are among the areas he believes will move the sector forward. Dr. Ali stated that the government continues to invest heavily in the ICT sector to position Guyana as a digital leader. He stated that information and communication technology is a crucial component of Guyana's competitiveness strategy, as it will enable the country to compete effectively in the global market.
That is why we are now seeing not only greater connectivity. For the first time, we have fiber going to region 6, fiber going to region 2, fiber going down to region 10. Investment, one company, the Prime Minister told me a few days ago, planning upgrades and investment of close to $32 million US. Those are the type of investments that are going to create, that is going to create a strong competitive environment for us to move towards a digital mode that is critical for the survival of all these businesses.
COVID-19, according to President Ali, has caused 2 terrible years for the tourism sector, not only in Guyana, but around the world. He said the multi-stakeholder approach between the government and the private sector helped to absorb the shock and create the balance needed to keep the sector alive. With that, he revealed that the government is examining the possibility of removing the curfew altogether.
It's an evolution dealing with the pandemic. We saw that there are many studies saying lockdown just helped by 0.0001%. And what is needed in this stage in dealing with the pandemic are the protocols. For sure, we can't continue with a prolonged curfew. And it is my hope and intention that that curfew can be removed once the necessary steps are followed.
The president in his address pointed out that the upcoming oil and gas conference is not merely about oil and gas. He said it also presents an opportunity to promote Guyana to the world. Dr. Ali said it is Guyana's opportunity to put the country on the show. He said the Yumaniana would be turned into a duty-free zone throughout the length of the conference to promote Guyana to the world.
We have invited all our local suppliers and producers, from jewelry to rum, to art and craft, every single thing. Our indigenous people, and we are creating a shopping experience in a duty-free zone for all the foreign delegates and visitors coming in, so that they don't, any little time they have, we can bring them as close as possible to the marketplace.
The Explore Guyana magazine is the official magazine of Guyana that promotes the country to the rest of the world. Also present at the event was the president of the Tourism and Hospitality Association, Harinan Prasad, along with members of the diplomatic corps. A Route 42 minibus was spotted driving on the pavement to escape the bustling East Bank traffic. Here again is Esther Sobers.
The Guyana Police Force, in the effort to rid the roadways of dangerous road users, arrested a minibus driver who was caught on camera driving along the pavement on Houston East Bank, Demerara on Thursday, February 10th. Kevon Cummins of 183 3rd Street, Craig, East Bank, Demerara, was identified as the driver of the minibus BAB 1427, which was seen in the video driving on the pavement in the vicinity of Houston, was arrested by ranks of the Rumville Police Station. He was charged for dangerous driving and placed on $20,000 bail. He is scheduled to appear at the Georgetown Magistrate Court on February 18, 2022. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. 25-year-old Andrew Archibald Samaru, a businessman of Lot 320 5th Street South, East Cummingburg Lodge, was remanded to prison when he appeared at the Sparenda Magistrates Court on February 10th. Samaru was charged with fraudulent imitation of identification mark, conspiracy to defraud, and robbery under arms committed on the owner of a motorcar. Leon Lewis, a salesman of Lamaha Springs South, Brimville, was jointly charged with Samaru for fraudulent imitation of identification mark. An order is to be prepared for Leon Lewis to appear to answer to the charge, since he was remanded previously on another matter, and the magistrate set March 7th for statements. 24-year-old mechanic Ravin Singh of Montrose Public Road, East Coast, Demerara, was jointly charged with Samaru for conspiracy to defraud, contrary to common law, which was committed on Tyrone Perez. Singh was granted bail in the sum of $200,000. Andrew Samaru was also charged with robbery under arms committed on the owner of motorcar HC 9968. He appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where he was not required to plead and was remanded until February 22, 2022. Don't go away after the break. Meth trade. Coup in Myanmar, blamed for spike in smuggling, and Ghanaians protest new levy on electronic payments. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate, pastries and other artisanal treats handmade by our European-trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. More than 40,000 migrants from Venezuela have unexpectedly lost their Colombian citizenship cards without being told. Most of them are children of Colombian citizens, Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
Venezuelan Colombian Edward Castrillon was doing his job in Bogota recently when he was stopped by the police for a routine check. He was dumbfounded when he was told his Colombian ID was fake and was arrested for 36 hours.
I was in shock because I was sure I had done nothing wrong. They still handcuffed me and took me to the police station.
Edward was born in Venezuela, but having a Colombian mother, he was able to get citizenship when he migrated here in 2019. But now he says he's living in a limbo, fearing he could end up in jail again every time he leaves the house.
Our right to my identity has been violated. Yes, I was born in Venezuela, but already have a life here, a credit history, everything. Now I live in fear, feeling that I am some sort of criminal.
And Edward is not alone. 43,000 Venezuelan Colombian citizens have lost their IDs in the last few weeks. Colombia's National Registry says they found irregularities in their documentation as part of a purging of the electoral census. Their IDs were cancelled and the majority were not notified. Since then, more than 200 have been arrested and others have had severe consequences. The director of the civil registry says that while the difficulty many faced are unfortunate, they had no option given the fact the records show some irregularity.
It's the mechanism we have in our country to integrate people effectively into the rule of law that will give them all the guarantees that correspond to them as Colombian citizens, but the adjustment to the law is inevitably applicable.
But some suspect darker motives. They say the so-called irregularities could be an excuse used by the government to reduce the participation in upcoming presidential elections of citizens linked to socialist Venezuela. Others claim it's the government's heavy-handed response to allegations of fake IDs circulating in the country. Whatever the reason, it's having an impact. Gabriela Arenas, who runs a human rights foundation that assists Venezuelan migrants, has gathered almost 5,000 wrongful cases.
These people is Colombian, we are Colombian, and every administrative decision that you take affects the life of these people. Today we have people that have cancer and are not receiving their treatment because of these situations.
Leaving many to face the real-life consequences of bureaucratic decisions beyond their control. Alessandro Ampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Internationally, UN says the military coup in Myanmar a year ago is to be blamed for an increase in drug smuggling in the region. Police in Thailand are confiscating millions of pills of meth every week. Al Jazeera's Tony Chang reports.
In the hills on the border with Myanmar, an army patrol in Thailand emerges from the mist. In this visibility, they can barely see 10 meters ahead. But this is one of the busiest smuggling routes on the border. In recent months, they've seized several million methamphetamine pills and shot dead 6 smugglers from Myanmar. And their commander knows why they're so busy.
I think it's the politics and the conflict between the people in charge and the ethnic groups.
In the provincial capital, Chiang Rai, the authorities are showing off their latest bust, seized the night before. More than 6.5 million methamphetamine pills. In the last 6 months, the amount of crystal meth and meth pills seized has exploded. The producers, often linked to ethnic armed groups inside Myanmar, appear to be raising funds.
These groups need money at the moment. Money that they can generate through this trade can buy them arms, can buy them other supplies which they may or may not need to support themselves, their populations, or whatnot.
Sam is a drug smuggler and a police informant who wants his identity hidden. He says that although the amount of drugs being intercepted has increased sharply, far more is getting through, and even more than that is waiting to come across the border.
I cannot even guess the amount of drugs that are waiting to be delivered, but I know that there are tons of them. The producers can produce whatever amount of drug that the client wants, and the cost of production is so cheap.
Can the Thai authorities stem the flow of drugs? They say they know where the drugs are coming from, but with fighting between Myanmar's army and ethnic armed groups, no one over there is thinking about stopping smugglers.
The Thai army try and make regular patrols down this river heading towards the Golden Triangle. This is Myanmar, this is Thailand. But they say often during the dry season, there's so little water, their boats can't get down, but the smugglers can just walk straight across.
12 hours after this patrol, nearly 9 million meth pills were seized just downriver. A brief interruption in the flow of illegal drugs into the country. Tony Cheng, Al Jazeera, on the Thai-Myanmar border.
And finally, a government proposal in Ghana to tax electronic payments has provoked a street protest in the capital. Demonstrators complain that the so-called e-levy will hurt low-income earners already facing high food and fuel prices. Al Jazeera's Victoria Gatembe reports.
Protesters marched through Ghana's capital, Accra. They're angry about a government plan to introduce a tax known as an e-levy. A charge of nearly 2% will be added to all electronic transactions of more than $16. Recent polls show up to 85% of the country's population opposes the tax. Protesters say people on low incomes will suffer the most.
To create a situation where money, which is either kept in my pocket physically or kept in my electronic wallet, you start to take the electronic money, any transaction I make is simply immoral, it's criminal.
The government says the money raised from the e-levy will pay for development projects. Tax revenues have fallen sharply in Ghana in recent years, from 32% of GDP in 2009 to 15% in 2020. Part of the reason is nearly 3/4 of the country's 10 million workers are employed informally, and many don't pay income tax. Some economists say the e-levy is not a bad idea, but must be implemented fairly. Others say the timing is wrong.
Prices are escalating day in and day out. Fuel prices are going up. Even last week, one day fuel prices were increased twice. Now we are paying taxes for everything. COVID came in, and instead of bringing alleviation to the people, we were imposed to pay COVID taxes.
Some protesters say they cannot afford to live and are calling on the government to go.
All my grandchildren are homeschooling. I cannot feed them. We cannot access water or food. I don't have anything to survive on, so I'm asking the government to hand over power to someone else. We're really suffering.
Ghana has one of the fastest growing mobile money markets in Africa. Protesters want the government to think again about the impact of the e-levy on the poorest in the country. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
That is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.